Hello again my friends, this is the Boy News Dog and welcome to the channel where I talk about, play, rank and review games on the Evercade old and new. In today's episode we'll be going full retrospective on Evercade Year 1. We've already gone through each of the collections and ranked the individual games. Now it's time to look at the first year as a whole, rank all 14 carts against each other and finish off with my ultimate cart, choosing 14 games released in Year 1 to make up the Ultimate Year 1 collection. All that sound good? Good. Let's get stuck in. The Evercade was developed by the UK-based Blaze Entertainment with the intention to create something beyond merely plug and play. A development began in 2018 and was announced in April 2019. A handheld retro system that played emulated games initially from the 8 and 16-bit era. A groovy addition with the original devices, it could be plugged into the TV to play on the big screen at 720p. Though as we learned that would sometimes be a fiddly affair. But the coolest thing about the handheld was it wasn't downloads. Oh no, it was fully licensed games as collections on actual cartridges, boxed, and it even included what felt like a long lost art, the instruction booklet. Initially scheduled to release in 2019's fourth quarter before being delayed to 20th of March 2020 and then finally released on the 22nd of May 2020. Good old pandemic no doubt had a hand in that, as did it in many things. There were two flavours on release, a £60 pack with one collection or an £80 premium edition with 3 collections. This was the one I opted for, but I hadn't got there just yet. Along with the launch packs we also got a huge chunk of collections and games, 10 cartridge collections overall, around 122 games. But that wasn't all. Over the remainder of the year we got a few more releases, taking the first year's count up to 14 carts. It was collection 12 though that caught my eye and finally got me to jump on board, the Oliver Twins collection, not knowing if this was all there was going to be or if maybe it took off and they continued bringing us more carts. We also got our first hint at the continued relationship with the indie titles, which obviously became a big thing in the future. Of course there was no sign of home computer titles or arcade, they were just a distant thought at this point, but little did we know what plans they had ahead. In my opinion this was a bit of a spectacular launch. What new console comes with that amount of games and collections at launch? Okay, these were all retro games, but they all worked on the one system, and for some, a lot of these games were basically new. Well, Blaze came back for a round 2 and still going strong in the 5th round, so safe to say the launch of the Evercade handheld was a success. Okay, now when ranking all the carts I obviously tried to take in amount of games per collection and obviously the quality of said games, but you know with all rankings taste and opinions do come into it somewhat. So as usual, don't be surprised if the order seems off from a technical standpoint, but I think in the end some of these decisions will not be a surprise. Speaking of, let's start with the bottom of the list. Oh, and remember, if you want more information on the carts or games within, check out the individual retrospective cart reviews on this channel. Alright, let's get started. And in 14th place is Interplay Collection 2. Now it wasn't hard to choose which went in the bottom 2 slots, but it was hard choosing which way round they should go. First off, I cannot stand the Clay Fighter games, and in the end I do think the second one is worse. At the same time, I'm not a huge fan of Earthworm Jim either. I think the second game is just a world of gimmicks for the sake of it, which I wouldn't mind if the 1000 ideas weren't mostly frustrating. I mean, bless them for throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this game, and I'm sure there's a refrigerator in there somewhere too. So if only 6 games and 2 I'm not a fan of, that leaves me with 4. Of the 4 remaining games, the Brainies is a puzzle game with a fair amount of fun. I love the graphical elements and ideas in Rad Gravity. Not enough to keep me coming back though. The other Claymation offerings, is it Claymates, is a fun enough platformer with enough secrets here and there to keep you coming back for a little while, but I must admit not for long. But I do really like Prehistoric Man. I am a sucker for Prehistoric Caveman or Dino action in games, I can't lie. But one game simply isn't enough for me, so bless the cart for coming in last place. And in 13th place is Interplay Collection 1. Yep, it's the other one. Again, we only have 6 games. Again, I can't stand Clay Fighters, but I find it at least has a bit of character here, unlike the sequel. I will admit, while not being a huge fan, the first Open Gym is a much less frustrating affair than its sequel, and it balances its wackier moments better. But it's still much tougher and fiddlier than it needs to be. But you can't deny it was always a looker. Of the remaining 4 games, I'm sorry, but I do like Battle Chess. It's a stoner game, it's just very slow. Boogerman is decent enough to control, platform game, well animated, even if the content is a bit eye-rolly at times. It's very much a victim of its time. But it's a fun enough affair. Incantation is a fun enough colourful platformer, but frustrations can eventually take over, and Titan is a very Marmite block breaking game that needs a hell of a lot of patience. A game best played in chunks, I feel. And in 12th place is Atari Lynx Collection 1. Okay, don't shout at me. I honestly find something to love in all the carts, just some more than others, okay? It was tricky. Honestly, these weren't easy decisions. But let's start off with saying it's way cool to be able to play the Lynx game on this system. These games are totally suited to the handheld, which is of course all we had at this point. Visual issues obviously piped up when we made it to the big screen, but here they suited just fine. And now onto the games. We got a great amount with 17 titles, and let's not forget one of them is the bloody monkey game. Do I need to say any more? There are some groovy enough games though within. I did really enjoy Dracula while it lasted. Crystal Mines 2 will keep you busy for some time. Awesome Golf was surprisingly addictive, and Zump, the final run, is cool when you get the hang of when to let go of the direction and stop yourself plummeting to your death. And there's Asteroids. You can't go wrong with Asteroids. I don't think this cart is bad overall at all. I just prefer the rest of the carts that came out this year. That's all it is. Well, except Interplay, of course. And at number 11 is the Technos Collection 1. Now I'm sure this is another one that will probably get me shot. But this is a cart for Double Dragon fans. There are 8 games overall, of which 3 are Double Dragon related. I don't dislike them at all. They just aren't my bag, hence the cart's position. On a side note, River City Ransom is rather cool. I love the very light RPG touches. It adds a little depth to proceedings and gives you the feeling of a little breathing world you're walking around. I'm not overly excited about any of the remaining games though, truth be told. Nothing technically wrong with them, just not really my bag, and with such a huge selection of games on the system, the collection always falls by the wayside a bit for me. Sorry. And in 10th place is the Data East Collection 1. This is a decent sized collection with 10 games, and there's a lot to love on this cart with the likes of Joe Mac 2, Midnight Resistance and the wonderful Side Pocket. There's also a couple of side-scrolling beat-em-ups that to me are simply okay. A cool Puzzle Bubble style game in Magical Drop 2, but it's not Puzzle Bubble. Burning Rubber is a vertical scrolling fun for a little while too. And oh yes, let's not forget my mortal enemy, Burger Time. Yay! I bet you thought this nearer 14 due to the burger. One game isn't enough to perturb me. Fighting history, I'm actually not too bad if I play on the alpha. I'm getting a bit better at one-on-one brawlers a bit. I'm still crap. I need to hone my skills ready for Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection though, and the upcoming Neo Geo arcade collections. so let's hope I can get a little bit better. And in 9th place is Atari Lynx Collection 2. The second Lynx Collection had a much smaller amount of games of 8, but I really like most of what was on offer. Blue Lightning uses the Lynx strengths really well. Checkered Flag is a great racing game. Electro Cop, with its cyberpunk Blade Runner influences, is just bloody wonderful. I want to eat it. Gates of Zendikon, a horizontal shooter, has some unique ideas that I totally dig. And Chip Challenge is a puzzling perfection and will keep you busy and entertained for a long time to come. What's not to love? There's also the fairly decent Adventures in Slime World. Oh, last but probably least, we have vertical scrolling shooters Arlo Mercenary and a hugely reduced California Dreams. But overall, a great companion for the original handheld and EXP that released a couple of years later. And in 8th place is Tanglewood Xenocrisis Duo Kart, the perfect duo pack where both games are fantastic at what they do and are the yin to the other's yang, complementing each other perfectly, from the chill story-like gorgeousness of Tanglewood to the full-on gunplay of Xenocrisis. I can't praise this kart enough. With only 2 games you would be mistaken in thinking this isn't great value, but honestly, it should be in everyone's collection, an absolute must-have to add to your Evercade library.
All clear.
And in 7th place is Mega Cat Studios Collection 1. As you can tell, we've already entered the shit hot territory of the ranking. You cannot go wrong with anything we talk about now. Mega Cat Studios may not have a perfect roster, but when it's on fire, it really is on fire. Yes, I'm talking about Old Towers and Tanzar. They are enough reason to buy the cart, with the rest being bonus material. And that's not to say there is nothing else great on offer here. Super Painter is fun, but controls a little too slippery for me. Almost Hero does a good variation on Riverside Ransom, and Multitude is a decently head-scratching puzzler with clever ideas. And the rest of the games, they're okay. And in 6th place is the Oliver Twins collection. The reason I'm here now, the reason you're listening to me rabbiting on again, it's all this cart's fault. All because a silly egg with a stupid jump. I think at this point I've probably bled this cart dry, but give it long enough and I'll go for all the games again. Especially Super Robin Hood, oh my god, and that music. I don't know why I love the egg so much. Why does he make me dizzy? My head is spinning like a whirlpool. It never ends. Apologies, I had to do it. So after all this time, I came for Dizzy, but I stayed for all the rest. And Dizzy again now and then. I think that's where we're at now. Look, I'm not blinded by it. I don't think this cart is close to a masterpiece or anything. But I can't ignore the fact that its existence is the reason why I'm here to start with. So I love it. I will always love it. And I'll just have to cope with that. And in 5th place is Atari Collection 2. I think if we throw other years into the mix, Atari Collections wouldn't be at a higher number. I thought I was getting done with Atari. I'm sure I made a comment to that effect earlier in the year. But the simple fact remains, when putting these collections up against the others, with the amount I like, there's just too many favourites for it to be in any other position. These may have been even close to the top spot of the first year's list if it weren't for a miracle that happened this year, but we will get into that. Yes, I may love the egg, I may adore the treasure trove that is Pico 1, I may dribble and drool over the thoughts of playing Tansar Towers and Tanglewood, but even with all those, there are some favourites that my brain will always return to. And yes, I know I meant to mostly sticking to the first year, but going on from that to the second year, sticking in both Atari collections into a VS gives you the 7800 version of Dark Caverns. Like, oh my Mila, come on. And in 4th place is Atari Collection 1. The same as 5th place, another massive 20 games. This one only pips Collection 2 for having Adventure, Alien Brigade and the 2600 versions of Asteroids and Centipede. Though it was very close, as Collection 2 has Millipede. There's just something about them. They're smooth, the colours pop, a little bit sexy. Am I right? Look, they are part of gaming history. Even with all me flashy games, I will always have the urge and time to jump back on. I bemoaned Atari this year, implying I'd had enough. I thought I had, but it works out. I'm never really done with Atari. I'll have to just give in and accept that fact. And you'll have to too. Now we're down to the top 3, and in third place is Pico Interactive Collection 1. Before this cart became legacy, it was easily the best value cart on the machine. I'm glad I got a couple of copies if the worst happens, that's all I'm saying. The wealth and variety of content is insane. Some of my favourites. Brave Battle Saga is a fantastic chunky RPG and great for grinding on the EXP and the regional handheld as with in year 1. I adored my time of it. Canon is also not to be sniffed at, being a more strategic RPG. Dragonview was a welcome surprise. Again, this isn't tiny and has some unique ideas. The Humans is another slow burn platform puzzler that will keep you busy if you dig its stoner vibes. The Immortal is smothered in atmosphere with some great ideas, but a tricky bitch. It's very edible if you let it. Go on, take a bite. I fucking adore Jim Power. The game, I think, hates me to my very soul, but that doesn't stop me. Radical Res has a dyno, check. Rides a skateboard, check. Okay, not for long, but still there's a lot of fun here. And it's only got bloody Switchblade. Bloody beautiful game, so edible, a little bit sexy, and a little bit of a bitch. There's so much here I love. Top Racer, need I say more, and Water Margin is a lot of fun. Damn, the more I think about it, the more I really, really love this car. And in second place is the Namco Museum Collection 1. Why are these two carts back at the top? Easy, I can play them on my VS. That automatically shot them to the top. I know we didn't have a VS yet at this point, but the point still stands. I don't know if this is a surprise or not. To some of you, I'm sure it can't be. Dig Dug and Pac-Man. Hello. Okay, not my favourite versions of Dig Dug and Pac-Man, but I know I am getting them at some point this year. Not Evercade, unless they throw in a surprise. Thank you, Digital Eclipse. But it's not just about Dig Dug and Pac-Man. This cart is filled with great titles. Battle Cars, Galaxians, Mappy Kids. Yes, I said Mappy Kids and not Mappy. Ugh. Starluster and Xavius. Now, this is a legacy cart, but if you can find a copy, you don't think about it, you don't second guess, you press buy or physically pick the cart up and take it to the counter or point at that glass screaming. And in first place is the Namco Museum Collection 2. Namco Museum Collection 2 beat 1, which had Dig Dug and Pac-Man. Madness surely. It was close, but outside of Dig Dug, this collection is superior in my opinion. Dig Dug 2 was an amazing surprise. I've never played it before, I just love it. Burning Force is a colourful blast in the vein of Space Harrier. Can't go wrong with that, can you? Dragon Spirit, enough said. Gallagher, again no notes. Felios, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a beautiful vertical scrolling shooter. And best of all, we have Splatterhouse 2, but mostly Splatterhouse 3. He says while drooling. Again, no bloody notes, except must buy. I don't know how else to tell you. If you see this in the wilderness, you buy it. It's a fantastic collection, whichever way you look at it. and my number one of the first year. Right, now this next bit is just meant as a bit of fun. I'm trying to create the ultimate car out of the best of this year's games. Trying to at the same time give balance. So we know we need a puzzler in there, maybe a racer, definitely some shooters, platformers. So after much debate and thought, here is my ultimate year one car made up of 14 games from across the year. I chose 14 because I couldn't skim anymore, and in my defence, the first year tended to have the larger collections. Alright, okay. So in no particular order, my final choices for the ultimate year one car are, and some omissions and inclusions may surprise you, Joe Mac 2, a fantastic colourful platformer and one of my favourite ones from the first year. Side Pocket, this is my obligatory sports title. Yes, it counts. This is such great fun and was my go-to until a legend stepped into the ring. But it would be a while before Team 17 dropped by to say hi. And here's your dream car. I still can't believe it exists. Splatterhouse 3, of course, horror platformer and in many ways an early precursor to the mighty Resident Evil. They have a lot of similar, if you think about it. A bloody great title in every sense. Dig Dug, of course, I was going to choose this. It was this or Asteroids. I went back and forth a lot, but in the end, I know Dig Dug first. This is an entirely personal choice. Super Robin Hood. I know of all the games I could have chosen from the Oliver Twins collection, and this isn't even an egg-based one, but it's so much fun, and damn, that soundtrack. Old Towers. A fantastic puzzle game again, and again with a marvellous soundtrack. Tensar. I love this beautiful, punishingly fast-paced game. For a while it was my favourite game on the system. Tanglewood. I do have a weakness for more story-based games, however they show it. This gives me the feels of such titles like Another World and Full Void, but more basic, you know. And they aren't around yet, so this is making the cut. Xenocrisis. Top-down twin-stick shooter action. It's feckin' fantastic and gives me those gorgeous Smash TV feels. Smash TV. Chips Challenge, the ultimate puzzle game on the Evercade. Could very well be. Everyone should have this game in their collection. Gates of Zendikon. Horizontal shooter. Year 1 is a bit skimpy in the scrolling shoot-em-ups department. Thankfully this would change on a massive scale soon. I need one, and its friend on the same cut doesn't hold a candle to this title, so it's this. So much fun. Switchblade. I had to include this. It's that great, mostly because of the presentation and how the levels unravel. It's just bloody gorgeous. Brave Battle Saga. Look, I had to squeeze an RPG in here, and it was close to being Dragon View, but in the end I felt this one had a bit more distance to it, and I just love the grind. And finally, a top racer. Look, we had to squeeze a racer in there. It helps that this is a damn fine one. So that's it. That's my ridiculous, awesome Year 1 Ultimate Collection. Any surprises there? How would your Ultimate cart shape up? And my final thoughts, what a fantastic first year to jump on from. Arguably one of the best launch lineups for a console. Certainly one with the biggest list of launch games, not only individual games but carts as well. And then before the end of the year they threw even more games at us, 14 carts in total. And to think, no arcade carts, no home computer carts, no home consoles to attach to your telly. Two of these things we would be getting in the following year, and that opened up the Evercade even more. But that's another story. Join me in the next retrospective episode where we begin our year 2 journey in earnest and check out the first console collection of that year, the 15th cart, the Jellicoe collection. But what about your thoughts on the Evercade's first year? How would you rank the carts? And what would your ultimate year 1 collection look like? As always my friends, let me know in the comments below. And if you made it here to the end of the episode, thanks ever so much for joining me. Leave a thumbs up or comment if you'd like. But you know what? I'm just chuffed you poked your head in for a goosey gander. As always, I hope the day is as awesome as you are, my friends. And until next time, be seeing you.